Good morning. So for today, we are going to discuss the diversity of phytoplankton and zooplankton. By the way, my name is TIBAYAN and I will be reporting the types of phytoplanktons and the zooplankton. Before that, let us first have our learning objectives. So for the taxonomy and the classification of phytoplankton and zooplankton, we have to explore the ecological roles, diversity, patterns, and functional traits of phytoplankton and zooplankton communities. Understand the ecological significance of phytoplanktons, organisms in aquatic systems, including their roles and nutrient cycling and food webs. And for the last, explore the factors influencing plankton community composition, such as environmental gradients, nutrient availability, and species interaction. Let's begin. So phytoplanktons, based on cell wall arrangement and cell structure, the phytoplanktons are classified into five types. First, we have the diatoms, dinoflagellates, cyanobacteria, green algae, and coccolithophores. So the diatoms, they are the so-called microalgae with characteristic shell-like structure that is composed of translucent silica. And based on the nature of their bulbs and ornamentation or the markings in them, they can be grouped into two. First, we have the centric and the pennate. The centric diatoms are atoms that have a discoid or cylindrical or solenoid cell. The arrangement of markings radiate from the center of the body of these diatoms, while the pennate, they are ovate, elongated, and fusiform, sigmoid, or roughly circular. Their arrangement of markings is on either side of the apical axis found in their body. So moving forward with the dinoflagellates, they are the unicellular with two flagella for locomotion. They are using this for locomotion, and some of them are naked while some are armored with plates of cellulose. Also, most dinoflagellates are luminescent in nature. Third, we have the cyanobacteria, or the so-called or also known as the blue-green algae. They are usually unicellular but can also be seen growing in colonies. The blue color is due to the pigment of the called uh, phycocyanin. That's why they are also known as the cyanobacteria because of the color, uh, blue color in them. And fourth, we have the green algae, and they are green colored due to the presence of chloroplast. They are mostly seen in the coastal water of the tropics and subtropics. And the last, we have the coccolithophores. Uh, Among these five types of phytoplankton, they are the smallest phytoplanktons that are commonly seen in the open sea. They have a soft body covered with a tiny calcified and circular shield. Also, some of them have flagella while others are devoid of them. So those are the types of phytoplankton that are included in the taxonomy and classification of phytoplankton and zooplankton. Moving forward, we have now the zooplankton. So commonly are found within large bodies of water, including oceans and freshwater systems. Zooplanktons are drifting ecologically important organisms that are integral component of uh, the food, the food chain. We also have the types of zooplankton. First, we have the radiolarians, or the small protozoan species that are characterized by the production of mineral skeleton made of silica. The remains of this organism, or the radiolarians, can be found at the bottom of the ocean, comprising the large part of the sediment. While the foraminiferans, they are type of amoeboid protist that exhibit an external shell and ectoplasm used to obtain food, while the shell is typically comprised of calcium carbonate. The shell of some species contain other minerals, and these zooplankton, the foraminiferans, are be found in the sediment or drifting about the upper surface of the water. So normally, there where we can found the foraminiferans. Next, we have the dinoflagellates, and these dinoflagellates are considered a uh, mixotropic species because uh, they can be both photosynthetic or ingest other species. That's why they are considered as uh, mixotropic species. And this type of zooplankton is extremely small and represent a significant portion of the marine eukaryotes and are important for the health of coral reefs. Next, we have the nidarians, and these are the marine species that are characterized by a special cell called uh, nidocytes, in which are used to capture their prey. They have bodies consisting of a jelly-like substance called the mesoglia, a mouth, and tentacles that contain the nidocytes, example of which are the jellyfish. The crustaceans, these are type of arthropods that actually consist of crabs, shrimp, and barnacles. Crustaceans are ranged in terms of size and comprise a significant part of the food chain. These are important zooplankton species, the crustaceans. The chordates are the animals that possess uh, an anotochord, dorsal nerve cord, endostyle, post-anal tail, and pharyngeal slits. And this is highly diverse family that includes sea stars, scalps, and other species. And last, on the type of zooplankton, we have the mollusk. Mollusks are a highly diverse group of organisms which include squid species as well as sea slugs and the sea snails. Mollusks comprise a large component of all marine life, and those are some of the types of zooplankton. Next, we have the sampling methods or protocols for phytoplankton and zooplankton. First, we have the objective. We have to investigate the biological interactions such as predation, competition, and the symbiosis that affect plankton dynamics in aquatic ecosystem. Second is to analyze the responses of the phytoplankton and zooplankton to environmental variability and perturbations. Investigate plankton's responses to specific environmental factors. First, let's have the vertical toe net sampling, which is uh, the toe net with a screened sample bucket attached at the bottom is lowered to the desired depth and raised at zero point 0.5 meters per second to collect zooplankton from the water column. After lifting the net from the water, it is sprayed with a garden hose to wash the organism down in the bucket. And scientists generally drag a plankton net behind a boat for collection. So the mesh used in a plankton net has holes that are large enough to allow water to pass through but small enough so that plankton cannot pass through. And the collected samples that was washed away by the host will be collected and become the samples that can be analyzed to assess vertical distribution and the abundance of plankton. Next, we have the uh, plankton pump sampling. The system is equipped with a quick change system for the collecting bottles, which enable the user to run many samples without much delay. So the pump can be operated in two ways: programmable sampling and non-programmable sampling. So planktons pump are designed to pump water containing plankton through a fine mesh, capturing plankton for analysis. And these pumps can be deployed at a specific depth to collect plankton samples. So again, we have two pump that can be used, or two ways to pump the sampling. First, we have the programmable sampling. So the water sampling can be programmed for various time and interval, the maximum of 24 times. And it is programmable for any value between 1 minute and 54 hours, and the standard battery capacity support maximum deployment up to 12 months in total, but only valid for sequential pumping, not for continuous use. While the non-programmable sampling, when the pump is outside the bulwarks ready for deployment, simply connect the power supply and the pump will start. Then, the pump must be covered by water within short time, or uh, the pump must not be operated without water for more than 60 seconds. So in this way, you will pump all the way down to the desired depth. Phytoplanktons and zooplankton sampling bottles. So scientists store a jar of plankton for later laboratory study. Because there are so many different types of plankton, counting and identifying them is time consuming and often difficult. Instead, biologists often classify planktons into broad groups that simplify the process but still provide important information about the ecology of the water. Sample three criteria often used for plankton classification are size, cell structure, and life history. So these bottles that the scientists use for the later laboratory study of the planktons are equipped with sampling mechanisms, such as closing lids or the valves, and can be deployed at a specific depth to collect the plankton samples. And these bottles can be triggered remotely or manually to collect samples of at a desired depth. Phytoplankton and zooplankton culture. Phytoplanktons are cultured to feed bivalve mollusks, all life stages, the early larval stages of crustacean and the zooplankton that are used as live food in fish hatcheries. Flagellates and diatoms are two important types of phytoplankton at the base of the food chain. Next, we have the diversity of planktons, species in the Philippine aquatic ecosystem such as lake, river, marine, water, and etc. Objective number one, explore the effects of climate change on plankton dynamics such as ocean warming, acidification, and altered precipitation patterns. Two, identify the impacts of human activities such as coastal development, shipping, and fishing practices on plankton habitats and biodiversity. Third, discover sustainable aquaculture practices and fisheries management approaches that minimize negative impact on plankton populations and food webs. Marine waters. So the Philippines, known for its rich marine biodiversity and extensive coastline, hosts as a diverse array of plankton species across its various aquatic ecosystems, including marine water, river, lakes, and estuaries. Plankton plays crucial role in this ecosystem as primary producer, nutrient cyclers, and food sources for higher trophic levels. The country's unique geography, including its numerous islands, diverse marine habitats, and varied environmental conditions, contribute to the richness of planktonic life in its water. Understanding and conserving this diversity are essential for the health and sustainability of, Philippine marine ecosystem. So first, let us have the Tubataha Reef. So this Tubataha Reef is a natural park located in the Sulu Sea. Tubataha Reef is a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its pristine coral reef and diverse marine life, including the various plankton species such as the diatoms, the dinoflagellates, and even the copepods and the krill. Those are some of the species that can be found in the Tubataha Reef, and it was considered as the natural park here in the Philippines. Second, we have the Palawan. The waters surrounding the island of Palawan are rich in plankton diversity also because it supports vibrant marine ecosystem. Places like the El Nido, Coron, and the Tubataha Reef are known for their abundance of planktonic life. Then we have the Tanyon Strait. This marine corridor, situated between the island of Negros and Cebu, is a biodiversity hotspot in the Philippines. It supports a wide array of plankton species, contributing to the rich marine biodiversity of the ocean. While the freshwater ecosystem or the lakes and river here in the Philippines, we first have the Laguna de Bay, and as the largest lake in the Philippines, Laguna de Bay is a home to various plankton species including green algae, cyanobacteria, and even the rotifers and cladocerans. Next, we have the Passion River or the found in the Sierra Madre. This Pasho River, which flows through the Sierra Madre mountain range, support a diverse plankton communities, especially in its lower reaches and the estuaries areas. And last, we have the Aguas March, which is a vast wetland area in Mindanao, including Lake Mihaba and Lake Panlabuhan harbors a rich diversity of planktonic life within its freshwater habitats. And those are some of the freshwater ecosystem, lakes and river found in the Philippines. The estuaries and the mangroves ecosystem. First, we have the Subic Bay. The estuarine environment of the Subic Bay, located in Zambales province, support the diverse plankton communities associated with mangrove habitats and adjacent coastal water. While the Leyte Gulf, these estuaries areas and mangrove forests along the coast of Leyte Gulf provide habitats for various plankton species, contributing to the productivity of this marine ecosystem. The coral reef ecosystem. First, we have the Apo Reef Natural Park and the Twin Rocks. And this Apo Reef Natural Park is located off the coast of Occidental Mindoro and is the largest contiguous coral reef system in the Philippines. It hosts a wide variety of planktonic life, supporting the diverse marine biodiversity of the area. The Twin Rock, on the other hand, this marine sanctuary in Batangas province is renowned for for its rich coral reef and abundant tectonic diversity, attracting diverse and researchers alike. These are just few examples of specific places in the Philippines where diverse plankton species have been documented across different aquatic ecosystems. And this location highlight the importance of conservation effort to protect the rich biodiversity of the country's water. Now, let's move on with the seasonal dynamic and implication of the aquaculture. Objective, develop skills in assessing and analyzing biodiversity patterns of phytoplankton and zooplankton community, understanding the use of bioindicator and biomonitoring approaches for assessing the ecological status of aquatic ecosystems in detecting changes in plankton and communities over time, develop an understanding of the diversity and distribution pattern of phytoplankton and zooplankton and their importance in marine ecosystem. First, seasonal dynamics in the Philippines significantly impact the aquaculture practices by influencing plankton availability, water quality, disease dynamics, and feed management. Aquaculture farmers need to adapt their management strategies to seasonal variation to ensure the sustainability and productivity of their operations. Additionally, research and technological innovation play crucial roles in developing resilient aquaculture systems capable of understanding seasonal challenges and mitigating their implication. Plankton availability. Seasonal blooms. These blooms can influence water quality and food availability for aquaculture species. And the available planktons in the seasonal blooms include the diatoms and the dinoflagellates. They can occur seasonally driven by factors such as changes in water temperature, nutrient availability, and light intensity. And these blooms can influence water quality and food availability for aquaculture species. Next, we have the zooplankton dynamics. Seasonal variation also affects zooplankton population, including copepods and krill, which serve as important food source for many aquaculture species. And this seasonal variation also affects zooplankton populations, including copepods, and which serve as important food source for many aquaculture species. And light intensity, the changes in zooplankton abundance can impact the growth and survival of juvenile fish and the crustaceans in aquaculture ponds and cages. Temperature fluctuations. Seasonal changes in water temperature can affect aquaculture species metabolism, growth rates, and reproductive cycles. So, some species may thrive in warmer temperature while others may be more sensitive and require temperature controlled by the environment. And we also have the oxygen level. Warm water holds less dissolved oxygen than cold water. And during warmer season, aquaculture farmers need to monitor dissolved oxygen level carefully, especially in densely stocked ponds or cages to prevent uh, hypoxia and stress-related issues in cultured organisms. Now we have the uh, extreme weather events, the typhoons and the monsoon, and the salinity and the fluctuation. So in the Philippine experiences typhoons and monsoon, which can lead to extreme weather events such as heavy rainfall, strong wind, and storm surges. This event can actually disrupt aquaculture operation, damage infrastructure, and lead to loss of staff. While the salinity fluctuation, heavy rainfall during typhoons can cause freshwater runoff into the coastal areas, leading to fluctuation in salinity levels. Aquacultures, species adapted to specific salinity ranges, may experience stress or mortality during such events. Seasonal disease outbreak. Changes in environmental conditions such as water temperature and salinity can influence the prevalence and virulence of aquatic pathogens. And this aquaculture farm may experience also the seasonal outbreak of diseases requiring proactive management strategies such as vaccination, biosecurity measure, and water quality management. Then we also have the parasitic infestation. Some parasitic organisms such as protozoan and crustaceans exhibit seasonal population dynamics affecting the health and productivity of cultured species. So the seasonal monitoring and treatment of parasites are essential for maintaining the aquaculture production. Next, we have the feed management and nutrient cycle. The seasonal feeding patterns, aquaculture species often exhibit seasonal variation in feeding behavior and nutritional requirements. And then, these aquaculture farmers need to adjust feeding regimes accordingly to optimize growth and minimize feed waste. Next, we have the nutrient cycle. The seasonal changes in plankton productivity and organic matter decomposition influence nutrient cycling in aquaculture funds and cages. Proper nutrient management practices such as periodic water exchange and pond fertilization are essential for uh, maintaining water quality and supporting healthy aquaculture production. Next, let's move on with the factors affecting the diversity of phytoplankton and zooplankton and the environmental drivers and anthropogenic impacts. So, a combination of environmental drivers and anthropogenic impact influences the diversity of phytoplankton and zooplankton in aquatic ecosystem. Understanding these factors is crucial for effective management, and conservation effort aimed at uh, this serving plankton diversity and ecosystem health. First, we have the environmental drivers. We have the water temperature, nutrient availability, the light availability, water stratification, and the current and water movement. Let's first have the water temperature. So the phytoplankton and the zooplankton species have specific temperature ranges in which they thrive. Variation in water temperature can affect their growth rate, reproductive cycle, and even the distribution patterns. Warmer temperature may favor certain species over others, leading to shift in plankton community composition. While in nutrient availability, phytoplankton growth is heavily dependent on nutrient availability, particularly nitrogen, phosphorus, and the micronutrient. The excess nutrient inputs from sources such as agricultural runoff, sewage discharge, and the aquaculture uh, effluents can lead to eutrophication, promoting the growth of certain phytoplankton species and altering plankton community structure. While the effect of light availability, the phytoplanktons are, are photosynthetic organisms that require sufficient light for photosynthesis. The light availability influences phytoplankton productivity and species composition. With this, the different taxa are exhibiting varying light requirements and depth distribution. While on the water stratification, we have the water layer based on the temperature and the salinity gradient that can affect phytoplankton and zooplankton distribution. The stratified waters may limit nutrient exchange between surface and deep layers, uh, causing to have an impact to phytoplankton growth in surface water and zooplankton access to food resources. And last, we have the current and water movement, in which the oceanic current and the circulation patterns transport planktonic organism, influencing their dispersal and distribution across different regions. Environmental drivers. Next, we have the anthropogenic impacts. Next, we have the anthropogenic impacts: pollution, habitat, destruction, overfishing, climate change, and the invasive species. First, we have the pollution. Pollution from industrial activities, urbanization, agriculture, and aquaculture can degrade water quality and impact plankton diversity. So, nutrient pollution in the form of excessive nitrogen and phosphorus input can lead to eutrophication and harmful algae blooms, altering plankton community and structure and composition. Next, the habitat destruction. Uh, Destruction of coastal habitats such as a mangrove, seagrass beds, and coral reef reduces availability of suitable habitat for planktonic organisms. So loss of habitat can disrupt planktonic food webs and decrease overall plankton diversity. Then the overfishing naman can disrupt marine food webs by removing top predator that regulate plankton populations. So these changes in predator-prey dynamics can lead to cascading effect on plankton community structure and the abundance of by means of overfishing. The climate change impact, including rising temperature, ocean acidification, and changes in precipitation pattern, can alter plankton distribution, phenology, and abundance. And these changes can have profound effect on marine ecosystem and the services they provide. Next, and the last, we have the invasive species. This is the introduction of non-native species that can disrupt native plankton communities through predation, competition, and habitat alteration. And these invasive species may outcompete native plankton taxa or introduce novel interaction, leading to shift in community structure and diversity. And that's end my report regarding the uh, phytoplankton and the zooplankton. Thank you for listening.